For all these that are joining right now, we will start at the top of the hour. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Scott Jones, the CEO of Forest Landowners, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us for this latest online learning series, the 2024 Foundation Year in Review, Shaping the Future of America's Forest and Landowners. Before we dive into the webinar, which I'm really excited about today, I would like to go over just a few housekeeping items. You'll note that your microphones are all muted, but if you have questions, and I really encourage you to do this, or any comments or something comes to mind during the webinar, please just pop those into the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. If you mouse over your screen, there's a Q&A button. There's also a chat button. You can put your question or comment in either one of those, and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. The session is also being recorded, and the full recording will be sent out. Michelle always sends this out to everybody that's on the webinar later in the week. Don't be selfish with what you learned and heard today. Share that with other landowners, colleagues that you have. Please send it around. We'll also be posting it on our website where we archive all of our landowner learning series throughout the year. It's been a really great year of series of landowner learning webinars, and I'm really excited about this one today, where you're going to hear a lot of information about the foundation and how it supports not only the association, but our overall goal of creating success for private forest landowners. I want to give just a quick little background of where we've been as a foundation over the years. And the foundation has been around since 1986, and it was really founded with some clear vision of working for private forest landowners. And it had some great programs that it first started out with. It had a woodlands management course, which was an online, and you'll know how old this is when I tell you this. It was an online correspondence course where you learned about how to be a better manager of your forest, and you would read a section of the course, and then you would take an exam or answer some questions at the end, and you would fax it to your local extension agent. So it was a long time ago. If you wanted to fax something today, I don't think you could. I don't think anyone still owns a fax machine, but it was a great course, and it was something that the foundation took on because it was addressing a need. And the need was to help educate landowners to be better managers of their forest so they could be successful with their ownership and management. That vision still exists today. The way we're going about it has changed. We've had some very influential leaders over the years, from Phil Hardin to Joe Hopkins to Robert Crosby currently. And we're very, very fortunate to be able to have Lauren O'Shea as our president of the foundation, who is driving this vision of finding success for private forest landowners in some very unique ways. With Lauren's leadership, we've really recast the work of the foundation, not to be this organization that helps provide just information, but is proactive in engaging audiences about who private forest landowners are, so that we don't have unintended consequences from, say, either bad policy or bad press or anything along those lines. But it's really a proactive way of addressing big problems that are out there. And that's what our vision at the association and the foundation really that we share together. It's a shared goal of creating landowner success by removing unintended consequences that are a result of misinformation about private forest landowners, and also removing things that are in private forest landowners' way of success, like barriers to market entry, or building that deep bench of forest knowledge within our advocates within our industry, and also all the other things that you're going to hear today. I don't want to steal a lot of the thunder because Laura's going to go through the program areas. It's really exciting. I hope you learn a lot about what we're doing today. But if I can leave you with just one thought, the association and foundation are organizations that work hand in hand with one another. One is not operating without the knowledge of the other. So when Lauren and the association, we always are communicating about what we're trying to accomplish and how we can help each other. So if our guys, like say our government affairs director, Craig or Katie, are in DC, and they're like working on disaster relief for private forest landowners or disaster relief tool for private forest landowners, and questions come up about, well, how many landowners are affected, or how often does this happen? What's the impact to landowners? The foundation is going and answering those questions, and actually, we're getting ahead of those questions and actually developing answers to questions that we know are going to be asked about private forest landowners. Not stealing thunder, but like sustainability. Are we really sustainable? Can we validate the claims we make on sustainability? We know those questions are being asked and they're going to continue being asked. So, as the foundation is getting ahead of those questions and actually developing the answers today. So, it's a proactive approach to create landowner success, working hand in hand with the association. So, I'm really excited about what we're doing today. It's a new vision, really from what was a historical mission for the organization. And I'll stop there, turn it over to Lauren, and just thank you all again for being on the webinar.
Thank you so much, Scott. That sets us up really nicely for the webinar today. I'm excited to be in this role. It's an exciting time to be working on behalf of private forest landowners. I've been in this role for about a year now and really proud of the accomplishments that we've achieved over the past year and excited to share them with you all. As Scott was getting at there, Forest Landowners Foundation really is, we're the only foundation who's dedicated to America's forest landowners, and they are the lifelong stewards of over half of the country's forests. So it's a really important role for the foundation to play and a gap for us to fill. Our vision is to create a thriving future for forests and the landowners who sustain them, because we know that those forests would not be there without those landowners taking care of them, managing them, and making sure that they are there for generations to come. And our mission is to support sustainable forests and the landowners who cultivate them to meet America's economic, social, and ecological needs. This is really our niche here. We're working with landowners who do have working forests, who need markets in order to make their family businesses successful so that they can pass them on to the next generation. And we take these guiding principles and we implement them through three primary focal areas where we have our programs. And you're going to hear more about each of these, but I want to give you a little overview first. So first, the foundation is telling the story of America's forest landowners. This is where we're filling an important gap by proactively researching, crafting, and sharing stories of these unseen stewards of America's private forests, just like Scott was talking about. We do it in a really targeted way so that we're targeting key audiences who need to hear our story the most. Second of all, we're providing tools for landowners to be successful so that they can sustain their own economic, social, and environmental viability while they also prepare for future challenges and opportunities that may face them. And third, we're preparing the next generation of future forestry leaders by broadening education, training, and experiential opportunities for the next generation of these visionary leaders who will advance America's private forest legacy in the future. So now we'll take a moment to go through each of these program areas one by one and to share this year's accomplishments and some of our future plans. And for the first area, telling the story of America's forest landowners, I'm going to pass it to Michelle Kane, who is the Director of Communications for both Forest Landowners Association and also the Foundation as well. I'll hand it to you, Michelle.
Thanks, Lauren. So, I'm going to dig in a little bit into how we're telling the story of America's private forest landowners. And as Lauren mentioned, and we know that private land is about 56% of America's forests. So, this is a big motivator to making sure that people understand that what you're doing is providing clean water, clean air, wildlife habitat, and also the wood that they use every day for building houses, for their desks. Our goal is to really make sure that your story is being heard and everyone understands the critical role that you all play in really making sure our forests stay as forests. So you can see here, we have two different projects that I really want to dive into today. Both of them are U.S. Forest Service grants that we acquired to continue to share the story. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more first to Forest Factor. So Forest Factor is what you're seeing here. And what this is it's an online sustainability tracker. And we've spent the last year really working with our contractor to develop this online mapping tool. So you'll see on the left, there are kind of six different buckets there, and it's hard to read, so I'm going to explain a little bit what those are. So Forest Factor evaluates 6 key characteristics of sustainable forests to really evaluate the sustainability of these lands and measure the benefits that these forests provide the United States. So things like water quality, community investment in jobs, wildlife diversity, forest growth, forest resiliency. These are the things that we're measuring to come up with this overall sustainability score that you see towards the top there. So that sustainability score really gives you an idea compared to other areas of the US. So these factors were chosen to make sure we represent environmental, economic, and social aspects of the forest to really show everything that goes in to making us sustainable. So you'll see those hexagons, and you'll see they go from kind of a light teal to a dark teal. Darker teal is the more sustainable areas based on our sustainability score, and the lighter areas are less sustainable based on that score. Something else you'll probably notice in this map are some orange dots. And what those represent are timber market activity. So this is actually an overlay layer that you can turn on and off. But one of the main goals was to really show that working forests are more sustainable when there's markets for those wood products. So you can see that the darker hexagons tend to have the bigger orange dots. And that's really the point that we're trying to make here with this. Just a little background, this data has all been vetted. It's very publicly available data, a lot of it from FIA and various other sources. And once this launches, which will be February 2025, you will be able to go around, click on a hexagon in your area, and it will give you all this information about not only the overall score, but those 6 different characteristics. So I don't have a slide going specifically into the report, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well. So we also have a report that will accompany this. It's a white paper that is more about sustainability outside of third-party certification. And the goal there is really to show that America's private forest landowners are practicing sustainable management on their forests, whether they're certified or not. That will also launch in February as a complement to Forest Factor. So just give you a little background on the why we went down this path. I'm sure most of you have heard about EUDR, and that wasn't our primary goal, but it's something that we think about when we're talking to people about how these forests are sustainable. And with that coming up, if you're not familiar with EUDR, which is European Union Deforestation Regulation, it's a mouthful. It was introduced really to combat deforestation and forest degradation associated with imports to the EU. And the United States is part of that. We do import a lot of things to the EU. So these tools are really giving that clear evidence that our working forests are sustainable and thriving, and we can show that very easily with this map. So there's just one reason why we are using this tool as something to really get that out there and tell your story. But also we want to make sure that regardless of regulations, that people understand all the benefits that private forest landowners are providing to the nation every day.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. We're excited to roll out this tool next year and the report as well. We'll definitely be doing a landowner learning webinar on those in 2025. So make sure that you stay tuned for more information about that. The next area where we have programs that we'd like to talk about is providing tools for landowners to be successful. In this area, throughout the year, we work in partnership with FLA to provide these landowner learning webinars and online learning sessions so that landowners are informed of all the latest trends and information to inform their decisions on the ground so that they can be making the best decisions possible. We also offer a succession planning workshop for families seeking resources or support in the important work of that succession planning to make sure that family forest businesses are successfully passed on to the next generation. And that usually happens in connection with our annual conference, which is FLA's conference, the National Conference of Private Forest Landowners. And finally, we also partner with Auburn University and the U.S. Forest Service on the Costs and Trends of Southern Forestry Practices program. This is a survey that goes out to private forest landowners, asking them questions about those costs of some of the common management practices that they've implemented on their forests. So this survey, this program dates back to 1952. That's a really long data set that allows us to track trends over time. And also, again, to help inform landowners' decisions so that they're making the most cost-effective decisions on the ground. Recently, we were able to put all of that data dating all the way back to 1952 into a free online tool. So what you're looking at right now is what that looks like. You can get all kinds of information about trends and average costs by region, by state. Again, we work with Auburn University in this program, so we do want to thank them. We've expanded this program over time to get more and more respondents. And again, in 2025, the next survey will be going out to landowners and forestry professionals again, early in 2025. So if this lands in your inbox and you have the invitation to take the Cost and Trends survey for Southern Forestry Practices, then we encourage you to please provide that information because it really is a valuable tool for landowners on the ground and land managers across the Southeast. And then finally, the third area where we have programs to achieve our mission and vision is preparing that next generation of future forestry leaders. So we really want to build up the leaders in this forestry community by working with forestry students across the country. We bring them into our Forest Policy Institute, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. And we also help them celebrate National Forest Products Week on their college campuses. So these are some pictures from this year's, the 2024 Forest Policy Institute. In the Forest Policy Institute, we invite students from across the country to engage in real-world hands-on learning experiences in Washington, D.C., and we also bring them to the National Conference of Private Forest Landowners as well. So in 2024, we brought 12 students from 6 different universities to Washington, D.C., and we timed this at the same time as the Forest Landowners Association Board of Directors fly-in to DC. So these students get to network with the whole FLA Board of Directors as well as the Foundation's Board of Trustees, and they get to have meetings alongside all of those leaders in the forestry community with members of Congress on Capitol Hill. Many of these students have never even been to Washington, D.C. before, and this is a life-transforming experience for many of them. We encourage them to learn about the public policy process and how that affects forest landowners on the ground across the country. and we empower them to really walk into those congressional offices and speak on behalf of forest landowners and themselves as forestry students, so that they can be a part of that public policy process. They also get to meet members of the administration, some of our trade association partners in Washington, D.C., our conservation and sustainability partners, and really the highlight is when they get to meet their own congressional delegation on Capitol Hill. So in 2024, we brought students from Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State, Oregon State, the University of Florida, Stephen F. Austin State University, all to Washington, D.C. And I do want to thank specifically the University of Florida and their director of their forestry program, Red Baker, who's been a founding member of this program and a supporter for many years. So that program usually occurs in February, and then we bring some of those students to our national conference. Now in October every year, we do celebrate National Forest Products Week. And for this, we like to invite students on college campuses across the country, forestry students, to hold events on their own campus to celebrate National Forest Products Week. So we encourage them to do tabling days, like you see in the upper left here. This is at the University of Georgia, where they're handing out information to passersby on campus. You can see that they were doing it in the Student Center at Missouri on the bottom left there. So this really gives some of our forestry students an opportunity to explain to other people passing by on campus who might be math majors or philosophy majors about why wood is good. And so they're building up their own communication and leadership skills on behalf of our community and really learning about the value chain from forest landowners all the way to these end products. I really like Missouri's Jenga set here with all the different types of wood as well. And then at the end of the week, it sort of culminates in an evening event where we partner with the school to kind of advertise the event, bring in food, bring in prizes, bring in as many students as we can to listen to a panel of speakers who talk about forest products and that value chain. So the National Forest Products Week kind of culminates with this event where we're all gathering together and listening to some of the leaders in this industry and really teaching some of our forestry students and others across the ag and other majors across the campus about forest products and the importance that they play in sustainability, in biodiversity, and all the benefits that flow off of private lands that are being managed by forest landowners. And all of these accomplishments were, well, almost all of them, were compiled in our very first ever status report. This was released in August of 2024, so we did report on sort of the first half of the year and the accomplishments we achieved during that time. We're very excited to announce that the foundation will have its very first annual report for 2024. That will be released in January. So be on the lookout for that. If you'd like to see a copy of our current status report, then you can find that on our website. The QR code on this screen will take you there, and you can download a copy of this status report. It really gives a summary of the history of the foundation, the 3 program areas that we've gone over today, and also where we're looking to in the future, where we want to grow and those proactive ways that we're trying to answer questions that have not been asked yet, as Scott mentioned, and also to be preparing our landowners and our future forestry leaders to attack those challenges in the future and to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming as well. And finally, before we close, I did want to invite in one more speaker, so I'll invite David Foyle to speak for a few moments. He is principal and broker, also past president of Forest Resource Consultant, and he is an AFC consulting forester. He is a member of the FLA Board of Directors. He is chair of the FLA Markets Committee. He's also been involved with the development of the Forest Factor tool that you saw earlier in the presentation. And he also is involved in putting on the succession planning workshop. Most importantly, he and his company have been longtime supporters of the foundation. So I wanted to invite him in to speak a little bit about why he thinks the foundation is important and why they have supported the foundation over the years. So I'll hand it over to you, David.
Okay, thank you, Lauren, and Michelle and Scott for all the work you're doing and this great examples of what's going on currently. And I do thank you for the opportunity just to speak briefly. As Lauren said, our firm, actually, Billy Humphreys founded our firm in 1970. We joined Forest Farmers slash, which became Forest Landowners, sometime in the mid 70s. So our firm has, decades of experience with the Forest Landowners group, and we were there when the foundation was developed, and probably participated in helping come up with that woodlands owners class back in 1986, Scott. So which even precedes you, but we've been involved, and we've really enjoyed, I'd say, being involved with forest landowners. And Lauren asked me why have y'all been involved? And it really is, there's two different things. One is very practical. It's because the FLA and FLF collectively make a difference. Most businesses like ours, or families, landowners, are busy making a living and simply don't have time, energy, expertise to make a significant impact individually. So when FLA was formed, it was to create this collaborative effort that benefits from many members, volunteers, and staff, capitalizing on all of those individual skills and the time and energy and effort collectively to create, scale, and make a difference. And that is what FLA has done for so many years. It's been very, very, very successful legislatively, contributing on regulatory issues, and helping landowners be successful. So that's the practical aspect of why we've been involved. Second is personal. I simply enjoy the people and the work, the relationships that you develop working together in an effort like this, and see to make a difference. Really gives a lot of personal satisfaction as well. So it's both practical and personal, and we have several of our foresters that contribute in other ways within the organizations, and we are making a difference. I've had they in my little talking points, but I struck it out and said we, because it is we that are making a difference collectively. A couple of things I want to mention that are really practical examples of how this has worked well is this generational transition, succession coaching. We saw in our business the need for families to begin to train the next generation of leaders, not only to be prepared to inherit the family business or inherit the wealth that might come along with land ownership, but be prepared for that in the sense of the ethic and the legacy being transitioned to that next generation. And so we were able to collaborate with FLA and FLF to provide some educational component of that. And I think in the last 2 years, we've had over 30 families have gone through that. I think it's been very beneficial. So that's a great example of the collaboration of FLA members and the foundation and the association. And then also this Forest Factor sustainability tracker tool. That couldn't have happened without FLA and FLF and some outside stakeholders. So FLF was able to solicit the grant, receive the grant, administer the grant, which is a significant component of financial investment in this. But they also had to have matching donations, which came from some other stakeholders, forestry-related stakeholders, into the foundation. And then FLA's contribution was stakeholders from the markets committee that were able to participate as the development went along, to critique and ask a lot of questions about what's going into it, where's the data coming from, how's it managed, what are the questions we want to answer with this tool that is going to be practical and not tell the wrong story, but very much emphasize the right story. So two things that have been going on the last several years that are really, I think, making a difference. So and I've been glad to be part of that. So anyway, that just wanted to share that just from a practical, everyday member perspective, I guess.
Thank you so much, David. And thank you for your contribution of time and support over the years. It's really made a difference to the success of the foundation and the association and our strategic partnership together. So on this last slide, we'll see some ways to donate. There are a lot of ways that you can support the foundation. You can donate on our website at forestlandowners.com/support. We've also got the QR code here if you'd like to scan that with your phone to go straight to that page. A lot of our supporters prefer to mail in their donation. So if you go to our donation website, then you can download and fill out that form and mail your donation into the address on this screen. And there are other ways to give as well, such as stock donations and estate plans. If you'd like to donate in those ways, then you can contact Amy Palmer. She's our Director of Administration for both the association, and she helps out with the administration of the foundation as well. And her contact information is right there. At this time, if we have any questions or comments, then I think we have a little bit of time to take those now. All right. Well, it's been great having you all here today, and thank you to those who are going to be watching this from the website in the future as well. We're very excited about what we've accomplished in 2024, and we have nothing but enthusiasm going into 2025 for the foundation and the association to be successful in executing our shared goals. We're excited about the future and glad to have you all along with us on this journey into 2025. So thank you for attending today. We appreciate your attention, and please reach out to us and let us know if you have any questions or comments or would like to donate.
Thanks, everyone.